No, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do a lot. I follow your Instagram page too. You do post a lot.
Yeah, I have this thing where I know a lot of people who are watching don't have some of the knowledge that's required to fully understand the things I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so I
Hmm.
can't wait to actually have a stepwise structured, method of teaching things. Because on the internet and social media especially, uh, you're getting people who have all sorts of perspectives and worldviews. So, like, the first thing I'm
Right.
going to tackle in my podcast is perception, worldview, and truth. Um, and like, I'm gonna spoon feed everybody, so we're all on the same page.
That's
And
good.
then I'll feel more comfortable that my audience understands and has the ability to like be on the same page as I am on, because I get people DMing me all the time, like, what does what does that mean, or like, what do you mean by that? I don't understand. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, this is such a like the levels of perception and just stages of consciousness and understanding reality vary so greatly. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sort of
Something.
tired of just posting images and stuff. It's great, and I appreciate it. I do put a lot of work into it, and a lot of people who do run truther accounts on Instagram are actually moving to Zoom calls where they do meetings with people who care, or they're actually starting podcasts, or so people
Uh-huh.
are getting off the dross. You know,
Yeah.
even like new agers that I follow are like doing classes and stuff instead of just posting all the time. It's crazy. Like everyone's getting away from censorship.
Hmm.
It's
That's
nuts.
that's encouraging to hear, definitely. Because I mean, that's definitely what's needed is more like, in-depth explanations and speaking to one another. Because I mean, the little kind of like spoon feeding, like you were saying, that's good to like kind of get people on the same page to start out, but eventually you got to
Right.
go into like the more in-depth explanations and of
Right.
things for people to truly get the deep understanding.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Hey, Chris. Yeah,
Chris, you
that's
were here
exactly it,
last
man.
time. Sorry, Chris. He was here last time. Could you speak if you can? I think he's on mobile, but I know that
Uh,
you. Hey, there you are.
how's it going,
Hey,
guys?
what's going on?
Good. So I also noticed, Chris, you are in the community, right, with the mathematical symbol that's in your it's in your profile picture, and I greatly appreciate that community. I think they do a really good job.
Sequitur?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not very good at saying that word, but yeah,
Yeah, just trying to grasp everything I can. But
that's
yeah, that's
good.
been a real helpful community.
Yeah, they seem very helpful because they seem like they're coaching each other, which is something I encourage people to do, for sure. I'm just like providing more of a blueprint toward action around that, but like what they're doing is essential within that action. And I mean, I'll be detailing a lot of that in my presentation. I don't have enough knowledge on the sequitur to post information about that in my presentation currently. But as far as I can tell, it's very resemblance of natural law, just simply through the lens of divine law and other lens of experimentation. So it's pretty much aligned in the same way, for what I know. When I looked into it, looked at the cheat sheet, looked at the other material.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a core community. Everybody going through the process.
Yeah. And in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, Sequitur is a community on Discord I can invite you guys to. They've been very generous to mention my Discord and look into my works, and obviously everything about Nature's the Answer. But also, like, they talk about Mark too and natural law, but they connect it to some other important points of law, like I mentioned divine law and then putting it into practice. The guy that runs it, I believe his name on the Discord is Rogue, right?
Yeah,
ROA.
Ro-
Yeah, he's a very nice dude from what I know, and he has videos on it as well, putting it into practice. I think he speaks quite well. Um, I'm glad he's
Awesome.
building that. I don't know how he built that exactly. Maybe he did what got my attention, which is get into all the Discord servers. But he has a pretty big community now, so that's good.
Yeah, it's growing. It seems like all these natural law communities are growing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has to. It's more relevant now than ever. The world sees it, they feel it, they know it, they have that connection. And welcome, Andy. How's it going?
What's up, Andy?
Maybe
Hey, Andy, what's going on, man?
I heard him getting out of his car, so maybe give us some
Yeah,
time.
I heard the beeps too.
But anyways, I'm gonna record. Is that cool with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Down
Yeah,
with
I
that.
don't have to post it if you don't want to, or I could always exclude you guys. Um,
I'm okay with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind at all.
I think if we're gonna talk about like trying to make anarchy seem reasonable, or just the word anarchist seem more in the true sense of things, I want to have Gavin in here and some of the other people that we had the first time around,
Hmm.
and then we can talk about it. But I don't think they'll come in here for today because I haven't really heard back from them. I would like Jonathan too, and other people, but it's not always easy to get in contact with everybody. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think yeah, that'd be a good topic to have more people involved in.
Yeah, we
Yes.
definitely. Yeah, I agree. We'd want as
Yeah.
many people as
For a
possible
video
to
in
that one.
particular. But like
Right.
most of these meetings are like particularly focused on like, well, what could we do? So like I can
Right.
fill you guys in on what I've been doing for the past week, aside from the presentation. And then we can like kind of say, okay, well, what are you doing? And then what are you working on next? What are your plans? And we can go from there if that's what you want to do.
I'm done.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, hey Andy, you there?
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know
What's up, man?
happened.
How's it
You guys-
going?
Pretty well. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Doing great.
I'm good.
Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me, but I said I was just leaving my parents. They finally let me back in the house without a mask on.
Yeah, I like your all the stuff you wear in your videos and stuff.
Fucking crazy town, USA.
It's awesome.
We can kind of hear you. It's not the
Yeah.
best, but
Yeah, you kind of got a little bit of the.
air.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
in my car, just driving
Yeah.
home right now.
All right.
But,
But that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to join, see how you guys were doing. I don't know if you saw, but did a podcast with Ronnie and Mason last week. We had a bunch of fun. Talked about addiction, suicide, pain, truth, freedom. It was awesome. We did 3.5 hours.
Nice, dude. Very nice. Addiction is definitely something to keep into account because everything technically comes down to a level of extreme
Right.
that we're in society, which is why there's a great need for balance. And that's why we see not just like extreme left brain, but extreme right brain. It's not just
Mhm.
either or. So like
Right.
Mark says, we're in a left brain dominant society. It's also coinciding that we're in a right brain dominant society. It's the principle of polarity and correspondence.
Hmm.
So, and rhythm, I believe, how I don't know what that system is called, but you hit the stone and it hits the other stone and it creates this domino effect, but it's not
Right.
not like traditional dominoes. Okay. So, let's go to the topic I was going to mention, if that's cool. I like to keep these within an hour if we can. I know the first one we did was mostly intros, so that's cool. And if we have other people joining in, of course, I want to give them the chance to have intros. So if you hear the little Discord noise, like the doodle, then you know somebody joined the chat, and you might want to just like pause in between what you're saying or finish your point, and then we'll go to them. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you do want to finish your point. You make sure, you always have the stage. If you're talking, you got the stage. And don't let anybody interrupt you. And yeah. So you're in charge. You got this. But so I did take some notes from last time. Andy's cutting in and out, but I did take some notes about Ronnie and Andy. They had similar goals, and then Gavin and Lynx had 2 other different goals. But I want to get more of your perspectives on what you're doing. So I'll tell you right now what I'm doing aside from the presentation. I actually contacted We Are Change local groups in my area. I don't know if you guys ever tried this. So wherever you guys live, right, whatever state you live in the U.S. or maybe someplace in the world, go to wearechange.org, which is an organization that worked with a bunch of independent media. You guys probably know. And they have a part on their website called chapters. So it's a lot like a political campaign. Perhaps We Are Change is the closest to the model of the blueprint that I'm proposing when it comes to changing the world. And hence their name, We Are Change. And I mentioned this in my presentation, that they're the closest ones in independent media to actually come up with some ideas around trying to create some change. So, okay, let me see if I can get you the exact site. So I'll just give it to you guys in the chat. It's wearechange.org/about/chapters. And you can look, maybe see if there's any in your state. Now, if you notice, there's nothing in Pennsylvania for me. But there was. The problem was We Are Change grown out of 9/11, right? Early 2000, well, 2001 when that event happened. So everybody was like, we want the truth. We want to know what's actually going down in that event. Tons of people started joining We Are Change. He did speeches, they did rallies, they did confrontations. They were on fire, basically. And I know Luke from We Are Change also worked with Alex Jones and then departed on his own. He also had another member in his group that died from that event. Not died directly because of 9/11, but his father was in 9/11 and then he died thereafter. He was young. He was like in his 30s. It was kind of a sad story. Some people accuse Luke of like killing him on purpose for college funds or whatever. It's a big conspiracy, but that's obviously, I don't think that has much fruition to it. But of course, I looked into all that, and I like a lot of their past works. I wish a lot of the independent media past works were still on the internet, because most of that got taken down. Like you're talking old videos. They used to have a lot of fun. It wasn't like all doomsday and plugging products and saying, okay, well, buy this, this is going to make you super healthy. Even though, by the way, they're mostly natural medicine, which is great, because it goes alongside this whole message of Nature's the Answer edition. But, like, the fact that, you know, people will attack them and say, well, you're plugging products and stuff. Like, now it's very hard to compete in the marketplace with a lot of things. And back then, the independent media really didn't plug their products that much. Alex Jones used to criticize Israel a lot more. He said they had fingerprints all over 9/11. He predicted 9/11, basically. So did Mike Adams, the health ranger, who I think deserves way more recognition in independent media, because he's been doing this for just as long. And his articles and everything he produces is in great detail and in great effort. Like, people don't put in that much effort. He's got his own search engine, his own ad engine, his own website, multiple websites, hundreds of websites, including Trump.news and Climate.news, so he gets new visitors. Then he has podcasts. Then he has how-to videos. He has his own prepping channel now. He's got his own YouTube platform, which is Brighteon, right? So he owns that. He's got all this stuff now of his own. He used to have naturalnews.tv. And that used to have a lot of old videos. Again, like, it was fun stuff. Like, they would travel through Texas and like visit the mountains, and they would go cactus hunting and stuff like that. So like, I remember that before all the censorship happened. And people don't really know that about independent media. The point I'm getting at is that a lot of people will criticize some people, right? But they don't really know their background. Like, I know High Impact Flix's background. It's kind of dark, kind of scary, not so good. People don't really know his background either. But it's because I've been following them for, years now, I guess you can say. And High Impact Flix was the one who woke me up to statism, first and foremost. So he used to talk about it a lot more, too, on his channel. He used to have a lot of videos that were very helpful. Most of them got taken down. Most of them he had to take down in order to get his channel back. It's like an exchange. So, like I was saying with the We Are Change list, what I was doing on that website was I went to the chapters and I went to finding Pennsylvania. I couldn't find it. So I tried looking up then on Google or on Bing. I usually use Bing because it gives me points for free Amazon money. Or DuckDuckGo, of course, which is safer. You do We Are Change PA, for example, if that stands for your state. You just look up We Are Change PA. You might get a Facebook page. You might get a blog page. Most likely they died in like 2009, 2012, like the site, like the people maintaining it. There might be a Philadelphia page for me because that's a big city in Pennsylvania. So just try using different things. We Are Change PA, We Are Change Pennsylvania, then looking it up on Facebook or whatever, going through different pages of search results, you might find a group there to reach out to. I found one on Facebook that has been around for a while, and they were inspired by Luke, but they have a whole thing. It says, "We are Change Pennsylvania." And so I contacted them. He said he'll get back to me on Wednesday, and we can talk and maybe get on Discord and stuff. But see, that's cool if I can meet people in my area who are like-minded, and especially people who have been trying to get the truth out there since 9/11. The problem with We Are Change is that they lack structure, right? So they have this chapter thing, all this set up. They used to do rallies, they used to do speeches and all the stuff. I think a lot of people want to see more of that. I mentioned this in my presentation. You know, people want to see more rallies. They want to see more people getting together. They want to see more action. And when people are asking for solutions on videos, yeah, the content creators giving them solutions technically by telling them what is wrong so they know what is right. As we know, that's, I believe, apophysis. But it's also just, problem solving. And that's one way they do it. Content creators are technically always giving solutions if they're introducing a new idea, and allowing you to decide for yourself. You are the one to decide the solutions, not them. Only you live your life. However, I think with their influence, they can gather a whole bunch of people together. And that's something that should be stressed. Like you saw David Icke's event with his Freedom for Unity rally in England. I remember you guys mentioning that. But like that was pretty insane. And that was something that if you just looked at all the comments, that people were like, we need this in the US, we need this worldwide. It brings people together, it creates noise, it reaches out to those who are in the dark. They have to see it because it's literally in their own cities or whatever. And talk about risking your life, yeah, you are, but this is something that if everybody does it and everybody understands it, there's always going to be people speaking up about it, and we won't be shut down. There won't be censorship because we're speaking up in real life. So I hope you guys get the point with that, but We Are Change is just one way you can contact local people. Another group I would recommend is libertarian clubs, local. Because libertarians are pretty open-minded. I mean, more open-minded than right and left, and what you can propose to them is a new third party that gets rid of all the parties. Because the funny thing is, a lot of them actually know what voluntarism is. Like, I did my video on that, I don't know if you guys saw, but the guy was very nice there. He was the one who ran the whole event, the one I spoke to at the end of the video. And I'm glad I recorded our conversation a little bit there too, just to show how open-minded he was. It wasn't too bad. Now, some people obviously were like weird about it, of course, that's usual, but he clearly understood that concept, which a lot of people don't understand. But the point is, those are people that can give you good opportunities too, especially since they're looking for something that's not traditional in the system. They're looking for something new. And what we can do is we can introduce something new with Nature's the Answer, as a whole new blueprint, not for a third party, but for understanding all the parties and all the belief systems. Just like how natural law teaches us all about all the belief systems when we understand the real actual law that governs everything and all behavior. So if any of you guys are unfamiliar with how that works, right, what Nature's the Answer is and how that connects to natural law, how it connects to politics, religion, all that, it's all in the presentation. Okay, so that's what the presentation is going to cover in depth for people like you guys who I know probably question everything and are probably skeptical and probably don't want to represent a quote-unquote movement, because I wouldn't either. And to be honest, I'm only doing it out of moral obligation. It's the need that we need to do something to unite together, and we don't want to be counterintuitive in the process. So I keep that into heavy account, because many other quote-unquote movements do not necessarily walk the talk, or they don't necessarily consider long-term conditions and everything surrounding it. So this really is something completely unique that's never been introduced before. Like I said, We Are Change is probably the closest to it when it comes to coming up with new ideas to change the world, but they lack structure because they don't have an actual foundation to their works. Everybody within is like kind of scattered around. They don't know what they're doing. Most of those pages were dead. There's just not enough accountability, not enough structure, not enough encouragement from Luke himself. not enough confrontation anymore. There's no more of that spirit that exists there. And you think it would be very high in today's day and age still to want to get that truth out. So there needs to be a structure for that, and that's what the whole point of Nature's the Answer is, right? Like the front page is the share sheet, the foundation, set in stone, can't be changed. Meaning if my website is compromised and they take it down, doesn't matter. The material's out there, and that's what it stands for. So it could always be revived, but it has to be like that, just set in stone. And I think a lot of people will want to twist the natural law too, so that's just something to keep in mind. It has been done. Mark has covered that, so I won't. But all right, so that's me lately. Aside from that, I just wanted to give you guys some tips for that, and I'm trying to contact maybe the local churches as well. So like I'm trying to contact everybody I can, and I don't know if you guys are, but I think it would be important that we do try our best to contact everybody, because to some extent, if we understand natural law, we should be able to appeal and understand everybody and everything, because it is the law and it governs all consequences to actions. So if we understand that, okay, natural law is technically God's law, that's a way to appeal to religion. Natural law governs all politics above man's law, then that governs all politics. So just it's starting grounds. And if you guys need any help with that, if you guys have any struggles with that, make sure to mention it. But so if you guys want to mention like what you guys plan on doing, what you're doing now, and maybe some tips for the people who watch this video or other people on this Discord, I'd appreciate it. So, Andy, you here?
Yeah, I'm back. I just got
You
home.
sound good.
Can you hear me?
Do you want to, I know I talked a lot and you were cutting in and out, but do you want to talk about what you're doing lately? Sorry, that's my bird. What you're doing lately and what you plan on doing for action, and maybe any current setbacks, aside from the delivery of anger, which if you think if you think you need more help with, we can try to focus on that. But I know that you mentioned anger is something that you kind of have to understand when it comes to delivering the message. But also I want to know like your relationship with Nature's the Answer. If you know anything about it, I know I don't know if I sent you a flag or not, but like if you have any hesitations around it and what you know about it so far, because that is important for me to understand as somebody who's trying to create something that brings people together, essentially, for an understanding of recognition.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten too much into your work, to be honest. I mean, I'm still, I'm having a hard time myself, like just pulling myself up, like having difficult days with this whole thing.
Okay.
So I have a lot of strained relationships from this whole COVID thing. I was joking when I came on. I don't know if you heard, but I said I was leaving my parents' house because they finally let me back in the house without a mask on. So the only reason I'm like living with my friends now is because back in April I went to North Carolina to go on a 2-week trip to see my girlfriend, and when I came back, my parents basically had all my shit on the front porch because of this whole COVID thing. They wouldn't even let me come back home, so I ended up living with my friends, and it's just like my whole family dynamic has taken a big hit because of this whole COVID thing. So I'm still working through those like feelings of anger, and it's like just when I go, because like when I go around my family, it's like I literally have to keep my mouth shut. It's like they're all talking about how like they're all like, oh yeah, just when that vaccine gets here, it'll be back to normal. I'm just like, you really think that? Like, it's just it's really tough. So the relationships
real quick, sorry, before you move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned a really good thing though, like questioning. So like asking them simple questions, I think is a good way to keep it very non-invasive when it comes to like trying to understand them and make them think, because then you're planting the seed if you're just making them think. So like if you do ask them questions like that, I think that's good. It's definitely in the right direction, because I had to do the same thing with my family.
Yeah, it's been extremely difficult, especially because this whole waking up thing is still relatively new to me. It's like a couple of years, and just like getting into Mark's work and seeing how righteously angry he is.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of hard for me, like, because he, you know, listening to Mark, he fires me up and
Yeah.
he inspires me, and I sort of go there for a kicking in the teeth when I need some inspiration. And so it's like, it's hard for me to translate that to like my real life, you know. I've been struggling with this, but I don't know, for me personally, in terms of like the work that I'm doing, I mean, I'm just trying to keep everybody informed as to like where this thing is going. I've been talking about like the New World Order a lot in my videos and things like that, but I think I need to blend it a little bit more with kind of the things that you talk about, and nature is the answer, because I truly do believe in that idea. I don't know, I'm not familiar with all your work in terms of like where, like how you weave it into like everyday life, but I guess perhaps I should probably get more into your work to really see where you're at. Because I really haven't, because I've been struggling in my day-to-day life, just trying to get myself out of bed and like, you know, fucking actually do something. It's like some days are better than others, you know, just like this shit's really weighing on me.
So yeah, you did mention relationship strain too, and by the way, it's optional to view my work, right? The whole reason why I mention it is because we need to be on the same page when it comes to
Right.
taking this action. So we're collective in the
I agree.
numbers toward pushing the one stone that is very heavy to push. Like, we need multiple people to do this. It's not a one-man job. And so we do need some direction around that. And if I have a little bit of direction aside from just myself, then that increases this resistance to the force that is required to push this stone up the hill. Like Mark Passo even puts in his own seminar, he says numbers is really what's going to win in the true great work. And the only way you truly get numbers is if you can get people to unify around at least an understanding of an idea, and not a person, but an idea. And this idea can encompass, you know, multiple different people, but it has to be something that's rooted too, something that isn't going to be too controversial, something that can at least set some different ways, but you do want a little controversy, right? And I think what you're doing with your family, creating a little controversy, is actually necessary. You can't be afraid, right? Like, we know
Yeah,
fear
I agree.
is a bad
I
thing.
agree. Yeah.
So that's why Mark is drilling his head into our heads, and it's also like he's been doing this for 20 plus years, and if he doesn't see change, I would be angry too. I'm probably going to end up angry when I'm older, you know, telling everybody like, look guys, I have a blueprint to change the world right here, right now, and nobody's listening to me, and nobody's taking action. Like, yeah, I'll probably be angry about that, because he's basically done the same thing. He's like, here, look, here's the law. I've been teaching this for 20 plus years. Nobody's teaching the real law. Everybody's teaching this fake law. Everybody's pushing these random things. Everybody's spewing nonsense out of their mouths. Like, of course, he'd be angry. And then there's people, nonetheless, you know, trashing his Facebook page and so forth. So I completely understand. It is rightful anger. And I mentioned that in my presentation. But go ahead, you can go on, and you mentioned relationship strain.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's been a tough year just in regards to that. Like, for example, like my own mother, right? I started putting videos on YouTube, and the very first video I did, I titled it "Hug Your Mom, Hug Your Neighbor, Hug Your Brother," and that was like right when this whole COVID thing was, you know, first starting out. And she watched it, and she ends up sending me a text message that says, she was like, "Oh, so I finally saw your YouTube video." And she's just like, and all I could say is, "I cannot believe the man you've become." She was like talking about my girlfriend. She said, "Oh, your girlfriend, Judith, came to this country to seek a better, safer life for what, you and all your conspiracy theories and your hatred for our government." And I was like, at first, like when she sent it, because like my mom has a bad drinking problem. So when she first said it, I was like, you know, I know it's not you saying that. Like, it's okay. Like, I still love you. And then like a month went by, and I was just like thinking about how fucked up that was. Like, to say that to your son, especially somebody who's like beat a heroin addiction, beat suicide, you know, and like to only a year ago, really, when I was like really at my darkest place, to like say that to your son just because they have different ideas and different worldviews. It's like So it's like just until recently, I just recently forgave my mom. We were having this back and forth, just knockout, drag out, like, each of us digging our heels in. And it was like, finally, I was like, I had a mushroom experience and I was like, I'm like, I need to just forgive her, because like, if my mom like ever has a chance of getting better, it's like, it's not going to come with me and her at war, So it's like, I had to take the high ground and sort of like, really take a hit to my pride and forgive her. And it was like, it was a weight off my shoulders, but still, she's still like fully, fully draped in to CNN and MSNBC that she watches all day. And it's like, she has Trump derangement syndrome, where she just blames everything that's wrong in the world on Trump. And it's just like, at the same time, she's believing the government. So it's like, I struggle with that relationship, I forgave her, but I'm still like ultimately just struggling like with these relationships. Family. I had a cousin tell me I should kill myself. Like,
God.
not that I, just because of like,
Oh, dang.
it's crazy. It's crazy, bro.
I just joined at the weirdest time.
No, you're good. Welcome. Welcome, Nemo. I love the name.
Awesome.
Andy, you need to congratulate yourself over beating all those addictions and stuff. It needs to be said that, it's good that you really did that. Seriously.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And we got to be here for you when it comes to that. And as for your mom, if you don't mind me asking, because this is something I notice, of course, when it comes to health, there's certain trends. And correlation is not causation, because some people could have a midlife crisis and it suddenly wakes them up. However, how old is your mom, if I may ask?
She's 63 or 64 now.
Okay. Because I do tend to notice people who, this is something maybe makes more sense because they've been raised this way their whole life, but like they're just into that system by that point. Like my grandmother is like impossible to basically get this through, but like she's like 80 something.
Yeah.
So I think you still have
my
potential.
grandmother.
I think anybody does. I just if I hung out with her enough, perhaps that would also contribute to it, because I don't hang out with my grandmother enough. She's in a different state from me. She's too far away. So if you have close access to your mom, then I think it's way easier to do so. And they start seeing what you're doing. They start seeing what you're saying. And there's conversations that spark between other people, not just your mom. So like, somebody walks into your house, I don't know, like some friend of yours, whatever, and they create a conversation about politics and they are open-minded. And then she observes your conversation with that person, and that creates a different understanding, because sometimes hearing it from your own son might actually not be as effective as hearing it from somebody else who's a friend who you don't hear from often, who's open-minded to your son and is somebody who's also greatly respected. You see what I mean? I know it sounds kind of weird, but it's just the way things are. We do adapt and we do take things for granted. And having that third party sometimes is very useful. I know Mark talks about the maven, and the mother could be a maven for sure. But aside from a maven, there's also the third party who can just be there for presence and recognition. Be like, okay, this person's here, and I see that they are willing to talk, and they're bringing up new ideas that I myself wouldn't bring up. And I think that could be good for your mother, just observing a conversation with you and somebody else. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I appreciate your feedback. So that's one of the things I'm struggling with, like relationships. But then with like my YouTube channel, I'm already having videos taken down. I've already had 2 videos like in the last like 7 videos that I put up that have been taken down.
Are you serious?
Is you make videos, so you can share that with your mom too, maybe. This non-invasive, simple ways to kind of plug it in. Like even I don't know, infographics, however she learns best, that's another thing too. So there's different factors to consider. And I don't want to overwhelm you either with this. I hope I'm not. I'm just
No, you're not. It's hard to overwhelm me.
Right.
You're good, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's just different ways that maybe you can make the appeal. And definitely for my family, alongside this was eating healthier. And to be honest, it just increases mental performance and allowed us to, if you're eating more raw food, for example, your brain is more raw, tuned to the universe. It's less cooked, less drained down, if you will. That like there's different perspectives on life. If you do different things, you're gonna get different things. So even just changing food, changing environments, changing people hanging out with. Let's say you meet a friend like Jonathan or I, and I don't know, I visit you and your mom. Now you got two people versus one. You know, now you got help.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna want to diss a stranger that she's just met necessarily. Maybe she won't. Maybe she will. I don't know. But just saying, like, it's less likely she's gonna take it out on somebody other than
It's
on
pretty
some,
crazy,
which is
bro.
kind of crazy. Which is kind of crazy. The fact that your own family members are sometimes willing to be more of the enemy, right, than a stranger. But it just shows you the things we take again for granted and underestimate. But those are my tips. I don't know if any of you guys have anything else to share for Andy, or if Andy, if you want to mention anything else.
No, that's pretty much it for me for now. It's like it's just navigating these like interpersonal relationships that I have, and then trying to figure out how to get like grow my channel and like but it's like, man, 2 fucking videos out of the last 7 that I made gone. It's just like I'm trying to post on BitChute and shit, but it's like,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
why do you think I don't do anything on coronavirus? All my coronavirus videos got taken down. People don't even know I had it, but it like
Are
they
you
were my most
serious?
popular. In like just a week, they had like almost 1,000 views, and so YouTube took them down. And I just didn't bother because I was like, hey, people can just go to BitChute then, get off of YouTube. So I used that as an excuse to make a follow-up video that said the one was banned. So
That's crazy.
So I used that as a gateway to say, well, hey, this video was banned. Go over here instead. See what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna make a video about those 2 censored removed videos,
Yeah.
and just be like, yeah,
Do
come
a
over on
video
BitChute
each.
or
Two for
Yeah.
two, dude. You want to pump out as much
Jesus
content
Christ,
as
man.
possible, and make different, thumbnails and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just saying, because I have my gaming channel and clickbait
Yeah.
works. For this, it's not nearly as easy though. Like my gaming channel is way easy to get views with right tags and thumbnails and everything than it is when it comes to truth and health and all this. Especially health now. If you talk about anything other than coronavirus, I mean, you're just not even showing anywhere. That's why I stopped that
Jesus.
too. So it's just
because I mean, I put up the video. And granted, I started the video with like, "Hey, what's up, YouTube? You fascist fucks." I started the video like that, and then I like the video is actually titled "U.S. Military Training to Imprison Americans." So I put it over on BitChute, but yeah, I mean, it's fucking insanity, bro. It's like I got 33 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm getting fucking throttled.
Yeah, that's tough. You do want to be careful with that, sadly. But like, unless you can convert a lot of people over to BitChute and Brighteon or whatever, I mean, you can get good views over there. Seriously, you're gonna probably actually notice you're gonna get more traction on those platforms than anywhere. But the thing about YouTube,
all right, I'm on BitChute, but I gotta get on Brighteon.
Yeah, Brighteon's really good.
Yeah, I have almost as many. I mean, it's my first video I ever posted, so given I don't have a whole lot of views, but I posted my video on YouTube, Brighteon, BitChute, and Library, and I got like nearly almost as many views on all those other platforms as I did on YouTube. And I only actually shared like the YouTube link with people, so I didn't even share the Brighteon, BitChute, and Library one around, and those still got nearly as many views.
Yeah,
because the people on those platforms are more keen to what we're talking about.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So the thing about YouTube,
smaller audience too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about YouTube is like it's a hit or miss, and I say that a lot. And a lot of people agree though, even if they're not talking about like truth and stuff, because the whole platform is just getting all screwed up. Let's just be honest. Like even the top YouTubers, like everything is going insane. PewDiePie. And I know Mark made fun of him saying, a gamer's not doing enough. I mean, PewDiePie I think is a good person. He's just, when you're in that situation as somebody so influential and you have people flooding your inboxes, how are you supposed to know better about the world? I think he actually does what he.
I think in that rant, Mark was more talking about the people who watched him, saying like, "Oh, like people are paying attention to this guy instead of like truth and stuff that actually matters." Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. But
yeah, it's. I definitely think the days of YouTube are going away. That's for sure, because it's just all the censorship's getting crazy. Like I can't believe that Andy, like he said, he's got 2 of his last 7 videos removed on a channel where he has 33 subscribers. That's wild.
It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
It goes that deep.
I tried to post it on Facebook too, and it let me
That's
post
great.
it, and then it just kicked it off.
Because I've only heard of censorship on, you know, bigger platforms, people who have big audiences and, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but they're even censoring small channels too.
Yep. Yeah, they do it, and they did it for a long time too, for like people like Johnny Gat and stuff. I mean, he's been a researcher for just as long, like I said, as Infowars and stuff. People don't know who he is, but yet everybody reposts his videos on YouTube, and they don't even know that it's him. It's some guy, basically. His YouTube channel name now is Vigilante Intelligence. He used to be called Johnny Gat with like a Batman logo as his profile picture, and he would just make a ton of videos on stuff that people are unwilling to talk about. Very good stuff. Very good stuff. Look, it's as simple as just compiling clips too. If you want like the influence. Jason A is somebody on YouTube who just makes clip compilation, and he has 1 million subscribers. And it's just stinking, like every single video is something happened in America, something happened in 2020, we are living in strange times, unexplainable events happening. But like, he has to be so repetitive, because if he says anything else, he'll get banned.
Yeah.
But he's actually getting tons of views on those because of how they're just compilations of clips. Each video has at least 150,000 views, and he posts like almost every day. So that's pretty insane. I think that's actually better than a lot of other people. But he's obviously not as outspoken himself. He's more like a robot, just posting and copy pasting. Yeah. So Chris, do you want to go next? I know that you're here listening in, and maybe, I know you're still learning too. I know a lot of people are. But share with us maybe a little bit about you and what you plan on doing action-wise, and maybe some of your struggles, if you hear. If Chris is
Sorry,
there.
I'm gonna have to run in a minute. I gotta go get my kids in a few minutes.
All right. Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you hanging in here, though. Yeah. Mason, do you want to go? Talk about what you're doing lately. I know that you finished the other presentation.
Yeah, sure. So I put out my first presentation just what was it, this past week sometime. I can't remember what day exactly, but and it was just kind of my approach that I'm trying to take is instead of jumping straight into doing, you know, long 2-3 hour long presentations, just do some shorter videos that to kind of whet people's appetite and just, you know, get them familiar with the concepts, because a lot of this stuff that we talk about, a lot of people do not have any kind of knowledge of, or very minimal knowledge. So I'm trying to take an approach of, like Monad was talking about earlier, of you know, just kind of spoon feeding people just to get them familiar with the topics before going into more in-depth explanations of things. And I'm also, within my video that I posted in future ones, I'm going to be posting a lot of additional resources, you know, books and other presentations and researchers that people can go and check out too. So the presentation, my next one that I'm working on is, because I kind of ended my first presentation basically saying, you know, that, you know, we live in a society, in a world where we're enslaved more than ever before, and even though most people don't necessarily see that as the reality we live in. So the next video I'm making is kind of going more in depth into that and explaining why it is we are enslaved, and what it is that causes that, and
I really like that approach,
and how we get out of that.
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people, because this is where the perspective that I came from before I kind of woke up to everything is, you know, I didn't really, you know, look at the world as this horrible place, and, you know, we're enslaved and all this stuff. Like, I thought, like, oh, we live in America, we're free, I can do whatever I want, and, you know, and I didn't and it took me a while when I was first introduced to anarchy and a lot of these different subjects of really coming to that full understanding of what it truly meant. And so I'm trying to kind of take that approach to, like I said, explain to people why it is we are in this situation, and then, what it is that we need to, and then go into solutions of, this is why we're here. This is the situation we're actually in. And this is the reason, these are the reasons why. And then here are the reasons and solutions for how we get out of that and we change that situation.
Great. Yeah, I love that approach. I like that simplistic approach. It's definitely necessary.
So, but I do plan on, eventually once, I get done kind of giving introductory type videos to a lot of the concepts, maybe making some kind of revisiting the topics and going into more in-depth explanations and introducing people to some more, I guess you could say higher level type knowledge and work, like occult stuff, to really give people a more, so people can really go deep into the understanding and expand their horizons.
So let me ask you, because I'm asking you and not Andy this question, for the reason that you live in a different environment, perhaps. Are you closer with your family? Like, does your family understand it, or are you?
I am pretty close with my, at least my nuclear, like my immediate family and stuff. But I do try to get them. I have been working on. They're still work in progress. Let's say that they haven't, fully. They're pretty open-minded for the most part at this point to when I try to talk to them about this stuff, but they all are still pretty trapped in the whole left-right paradigm. And, they're, every time I see them, they're talking about like, oh, whatever Trump's doing. And did you hear what Biden said? And, who are you going to vote for? And so they're still in the system, ingrained in the system. But
okay, I have two more questions.
Certain members of my family are a little more open-minded to it, but they're not, and they'll listen to me when I try to explain these concepts. But it seems like maybe I'm not doing too good of a job to where they're fully getting it, but it's also, especially with like my parents and grandparents, how you were mentioning with older people, you find that it's just really difficult to kind of get them to be open-minded to these ideas because they're so ingrained in them, and they've lived 50, 60, 70 years in this system. So they're just so stuck in it that they don't really see any other possible way of living besides how they always have.
Yeah, we don't want to beat the boat either.
Right.
Yeah, it is pretty bad sometimes. And that can go for anybody, right? Like the child could be more vulnerable, which means more open, but also more prone to danger.
Right.
So there's problems on both ends, but we do need to look toward the younger generations, and I hope to get in contact one day with Naomi Seipt from Germany, because she's my age, and we can create a lot of change in this generation to inspire the next if we choose to do so. But either way, we all live in the same generation, so age is not a big deal to me.
But I do agree with that, though. That is, I would like to more focus on younger people too, because I think that is where we're going to see the most long-term change is if we get the younger people as they grow older, then that they kind of become the quote controllers or leaders of society.
That's supremely unlikely, in my opinion.
I mean, it's
all my hope, really.
It's definitely,
it's on both ends. It's a polarity. Right. We can get into semantics about it, and it'll be like, oh, okay, well, not necessarily. Yeah, the younger people could be quite the contrary, especially since they're into technology and all this.
Yeah.
But look, it doesn't. It depends a lot of different factors. So like that's why I'm going to ask two other questions, if you don't mind, to both Andy and Mason. Have you guys or any of your family into like health, natural health, or anything like that? That's just a question that has to come up because that opens up other avenues.
Mm-hmm. I very much am so, and especially within the past year of my life, I've really health is something that I've been taking a lot more time to understand and look into, especially natural alternatives.
Okay, what about your family though?
My family, somewhat, a little bit, but not entirely. Like, you know, my grandparents especially, they're still like, they're kind of like the typical, you know, stereotype of older people where they go to the doctor and they take like they have like this laundry list of, you know, medicines and stuff that they take. So, and
Yeah.
they don't, family, they're not, they're not the healthiest people. They don't
Okay.
like drink alcohol a lot, but they don't exercise. They don't really eat the healthiest, a lot of
To
processed,
emphasis,
a lot of junk food.
yeah, I was gonna like say what's the criteria for that? It's more of like if they do smoothies, if they do raw food, juicing, or anything like
Not
different compared to.
not at all. I
Okay.
do all of that stuff, but they do not. I've been trying to kind of, you know, get them, you know, I've been trying to get them to, you know, try some of that stuff by explaining how it can be beneficial to them.
Yeah.
And they sound like, oh, you know, that sounds good, or I'd probably
Well, do
like
you
that.
give
But
it to
then
them? You try it to
they
them or show them how to
uh,
do it? Because that really matters more.
right. You know, I haven't actually done that, but that's really what that is definitely something that I can do more of on my part, is actually just go over to their houses and like make some smoothies for them and be like, here, try this, you know, drink
Yeah.
this. Do you
There you
like
go.
it?
See, okay, that's one thing right there. Boom, action step for you. Like
Mhm.
right there, although it may sound so minor and so
Right.
not
I get, I
very.
get, I guess that's kind of my mindset. Is, to me, I think like, oh, it's so easy to just make a smoothie, like, so I can just tell them like, oh, here's a smoothie you can make, and then they'll go do it. But
Yeah, or they try yours. Like a chocolate smoothie for the record, okay? Like it has
oh,
mood boosting chemicals. And let's say you put
it's
berries in it and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but like you have all these different types of plants. You have all
right.
these different types of flavors, flavors that they don't usually get from processed foods. So their sensories are opening. Their
Hmm.
brain is becoming open to information and their mood is happier because you got maybe cinnamon, vanilla, and chocolate. Like these are all things that are known to make people happier and more
Hmm.
accepting to knowledge, technically, and make their brains work better and their heart work better. Like this is all necessary for what we
Right.
have to do. So that's
Right.
definitely something you can do. And I think what you can do is maybe, maybe you decide like I'll go this week. I'll go this day or this week at this time. I'll bring them this or I'll show them how to do it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Even if
Right.
it's like a simple one type of food, like even if it's just a bag of frozen blueberries, like just to start off or whatever.
Right. Right. Yeah, because that's definitely something that I could do more of, is actually yeah, showing them instead of just explaining it to them, because they, it seems like sometimes when I'm trying to explain, you know, health stuff to them, it kind of goes right over their head, or they'll just say like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying, but
Yeah.
then they don't really act on it. So
See, that's the thing, right? Showing them.
right.
Like the people in the Sequitur community, the guy got involved because he put it in action himself. So he actually tested the natural law himself using different ways of doing it, and he actually tested each theory for himself, and he puts it into very practical terms for people. So it's not necessarily that we have to convince anybody of anything, and we shouldn't want to actually convince anyone. We need to
Right.
simply just show them, here's the way. Look, open your eyes. It's right here all along. um,
Right.
so it's a matter of like portrayal in environments, like I said. So what environment you currently in? If you think, okay, like if put your family in an office space and compare it to putting your family on the beach, with
Right.
coconuts and palm trees and cocoa beans, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if there's TV while you're talking to them, it's a distraction. You got other people, other things, and they want to keep their mind off of it. They're going to go to other things. They're going to look at that more than you. So they have something like as a boundary, keeping them
Hmm.
from talking to you. Like there's different psychological things that are within that. So it's the environment, and that includes the bodily environment. So
Hmm.
indeed, the foods that we consume. Andy, what about you, if you don't mind? Because I know that was a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, my family's pretty much in line with Mason's. Grandmother
Oh,
takes
I thought you were
about,
saying
well,
Masons as in Freemasons. Sorry. Freemasons.
no, 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 no. No,
Yeah.
they're not Masons. Not that I know. But
I actually
very.
do have deceased relatives that were Freemasons.
Me too. My grandfather.
My
That's bad. I shouldn't say that on this video. Just kidding. We're
Not
going to
my-
be doing research now.
You guys are shills. You guys are shills.
Oh no. Yeah, my middle name here. I'll help the
Close.
researchers. My middle name is Edmund Endrulat, and that is the name of my grandfather.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know where he was born. And he's a Freemason.
Yeah, but my family's not very
I don't know
healthy
where
either.
he came from. He came from Europe somewhere in Lithuania when my step grandfather saved a village during World War II or something like that. And then I don't know. That's pretty much it. No, wait, he was adopted by some family. So I have no clue what's going on in my father's side. Oh geez, too much information. Go ahead, Andy.
I don't even know that much about my family, so you're already way ahead.
No, it's bad.
Did
I
not
shouldn't
tell
say
me
that
much
on YouTube.
about-
Nah, it's not.
You're on Discord, bro.
Yeah, but we're recording.
Oh, you're recording?
Welcome to
Okay.
YouTube. So what's up?
Oh wait, you're recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome, Nemo. Sorry about that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, you can say hi.
But yeah, my parents are they're about, like I said, the same as Masons. Not very healthy. Bunch of people that drink a lot of soda. I've tried to tell them,
drink smoothies.
like, yeah, drink smoothies, drink tea, get rid of the coffee, get rid of the sugar, but they
You
they
tell
love
them
it.
to? Remember what we talked
I
about?
try,
betrayal?
yeah.
Betrayal?
Their eyes glaze over.
Well,
Their eyes
betrayal.
glaze
So
over.
if you bring something to them as a gift, do you think they're going to deny it?
Probably not. No.
Exactly. So it's about crowding out and adding in rather than telling them what to do. And we have to think the same way when it comes to natural law. We need to add in and crowd out the bad naturally. And this is something I describe in my presentation for the reason that if we apply the concepts of health to this, it's like we're healing the world and not just the body. And I think that connection is like super crucial because I talk about it in my health book, which will probably never get published because I'm focused on way too many different projects. But yeah, it is something that you can introduce it, like I mentioned to Mason. I don't know if you want to make that on your objective list or whatever, but maybe it would help you have a conversation too, a little bit longer, a little bit more lasting, because you're giving something to them. They feel grateful, so they're not going to want to make you mad.
All right, that's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, right. Like if you're giving something to them, it's like they're not going to want to get mad at you. It's not saying like bribing or anything. It's just being kind. It's showing that you care, and that's why you care for what you're talking about. So you're connecting what you're giving to them verbally and non-verbally, and it creates a bigger picture. So they feel more grateful overall and be like, yeah, awesome son I have. But yeah. Mana, do you want to go next, man? Talk about everything that we talked about. Maybe you want to go talk about health. That's up to you. If you want to talk about what you're doing lately and stuff, that's obviously more important.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly like such a good group of people. It's really rad. But yeah, so what I'm doing, I've been preparing to start recording episodes for a podcast. I'm tired of the dross of social media. It's
Same.
it's planting seeds is great, and for like people who either don't know anything or they're curious, it's really good. But if once people get to a certain level where they want like deep understandings and deeper perspectives and just more knowledge, it's like you can't do much on Square on Instagram and just like 180 characters of text or whatever. So I've been preparing to move on to podcasts, and I'm getting ready to start recording this week. That's what I've been doing, and I will be focusing on I'll be doing like 3 episodes a month. I'll launch them all at once, like little trilogies, I guess, and they'll be sort of cohesive topics. So the first one is going to be just like Mason said, spoon feeding people perception, truth, and reality and worldview. Because I mean, like, when New World Order is popping off and no one understands anything at all, and you're trying to teach, like, I don't know, possibly like a 20-year long endeavor. I'm gonna have to start on a foundation where I can
Yeah.
make everybody realize that they've been mind effed for a long time. So I'm doing podcast, and then I'm mainly gonna focus on like the spiritual aspects. My real I can talk about family a second because I like that we're talking about family. It's really good. Um, it's hard, I've been blessed. I have a funny situation. I've been blessed because my family, they're spirit-led Christians. So they understand, like, when I'm like, hey, this is a satanic global takeover, this is how it works. They're like, oh my god, that's crazy. They're like, I see it. So but the only part, it's really hard. I called it, sorry for the crudeness, but I call it truth or blue balls because, like, we'll go really far with the truth, and then I'll like be like, well, yeah, Tucker Carlson is just there to, the conservatives or constitutionalists who don't understand, like, the spiritual warfare side of it. They're just going to get angry because of what Tucker says. So he's sort of there just as the gatekeeper to keep people in the Trump camp, even though he's like obviously exposing some truth. And then so it's like we'll talk about everything, and then once I get to like that little bit of uncomfortable truth, it's like no, can't go there. So
Yeah.
it's like, so I'm like, my family accepts me, they love me. I don't have any like crazy, unfortunate things, and Andy, dude, much love to you. Like, that's really rough, dude, but you're getting through it, bro. Like, you're killing it. Like, you're killing it. You're not killing yourself. That's all I'll say. You're killing it. You're not killing yourself. So that's
Thanks,
sick.
brother.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and
been through a lot, but I wanna help people now. So it's like,
yeah.
that's why I'm trying to just be honest about everything.
Exactly. I mean, the reason you felt different from them to begin with was because you probably had a more empathetic heart than they did to begin with, and that's not to say like um, any superiority complex or anything, but like people work differently. Like on a soul level, some people have a zeal for truth more than others do. So uh, like my family happens to be more truth oriented than my other friends' families, but like not as much as me. But you like it all comes down to understanding other people's worldview and being able to, like Cory says, nature's the answer. And like literally if you're a genuine human or you're trying to be genuine human and you think you're a genuine human, you could probably agree that nature is important, right? So
So that's another thing, right? People mention love is the answer. Sorry, just
yeah,
people mention
yeah,
that, but like that still has to come from somewhere. The
right,
love is within all things, technically. You study
exactly,
spirituality, it's God is everywhere.
right, exactly, yeah. So that's what I've been working on, and then nutrition, like you guys said, is really key. Um, I mean, you can literally heal your body complex
Mm.
by what you put in yourself. So that's vital, man. That's like really vital because, I mean, one of the main methods, as you guys know, preaching to the choir is through what they put in us,
Mhm.
uh, or what they
Yeah,
tell us to put in us. So that's huge,
big,
and
including information
yeah,
and food.
exactly.
How far do
It's
y'all
all
go
about,
into the
that's the
food
sovereignty of the mind,
ideas?
mind, body, and spirit is just everything. Like, it's crazy how it can be boiled down to just almost anything can be boiled down to self ownership. Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
self-responsibility. It's
yeah,
an example, right? You start taking control of your health, you start taking control of everything else.
Uh-huh.
yes.
That's
I
it.
think that's. I'm trying to think of
Like
specifics.
even with Andy, it says go within to get without. Literally, that's health.
Oh,
You
I
need to
love
go
that.
within the body,
Yeah,
heal the body
that's
inside
awesome.
to heal it outside, and that was what we have to do with this world here. We're not going to create a revolution going into the state with guns. We're going to create a revolution if we get all the cops and the people who are hierarchies, moreover, understand this knowledge as well. They
Right.
naturally disintegrate from the system, and we demote such system through time, generationally. That's what Nature's the Answer is here to do. And let me tell you also, because Andy mentioned it as well, it's a transition. So, like, if it's hard to describe natural law, and it's hard to describe natural medicine, and it's hard to describe certain things, I'm sure you can get them somewhere when it comes to nature because we're all connected to it. I mentioned there's vacation spots that people are connected to, and they have to go there because they're stuck in their office jobs most of the day, so they're detached from nature. Um, you can put it in different contexts, but I did a video on this, and it's called Individual Appeal. I could put it in the chat if you want. But that talks about, what you can bring up in order of events to individuals that you speak to one-on-one.
A lot.
and it basically mentions how you can use nature as a bridge to connect the other points that you make. So that way it's less invasive, and that way it's more holistic, and it's something they can't really deny unless they really outright show their ignorance, to which they'd expose themselves if you don't feed into it. So you don't want to feed into the fire that they themselves will create if they are completely, irreversible, if you will. Right?
Right on.
But yeah, dude, I appreciate your efforts. But now I have a big question
Oh,
for a lot
actually,
of you.
I have one more thing
Yeah.
that you're helping me with so much, Corey, is action in my 3D physical community. Because I think there's so much emphasis on information being
I was just
out
gonna
there.
mention that.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
just-
I mean, like when I study spirituality, I understand. I mean, I don't know if we all understand, but I mean, we have a magnetic aura around us, and like when you make an action, like Mason, you're talking about giving your family a smoothie or something, or like Corey, you said go bring them a bag of blueberries. Like that actually energetically does something to. I don't know. Like people don't need to know that, but it actually does something to the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Superfoods too. Just like I said, cocoa powder. It's not too expensive. And that has mood boosters. Dude, cuts heart attacks in half. Most people have cardiovascular issues, so that's definitely a winner. It's a winner.
that would definitely be good for my grandparents. They have heart disease, so
Also look up the effects on brain health, cognitive function. Cocoa is amazing for this.
I love cocoa. I've got some. I always have some on deck.
Yeah,
So.
but get cacao, raw cacao.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah.
And they can like add that to just things.
That's what I have. I got 100% raw cacao.
Yeah. And you don't have to worry too much about organic if you guys are wondering, like, oh my gosh, does it have to be organic? Certain things. Preferably, heavy metal testing is important for cacao.
What do you think about the Dirty Dozen list that's so popular in the health world?
It's made by EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group. It's generally pretty accurate each year. Yeah.
Cool.
It changes though. Like I remembered it one year, and I shouldn't have remembered it because they change it then every year. I'm like, darn it. I always think apples was number one, and now it's like some other thing.
Yeah, I realized that too. I didn't realize that at first. They come out with a new list every year because I think the first time I came across it was in Kevin Trudeau's Natural Cures book, maybe, and that's from like the mid 2000s or something. So that's like a pretty old book at this point. So I was like going off of that for a while, but then I found out later on, like, oh, it changes. So some of like it's not the same as it was back in 2005 or whatever.
Yeah, so I'll put that in the link in case anybody doesn't know, ewg.org. They also have the Clean 15, which is for the cleanest fruits and vegetables you can buy, like avocados, for example. You never need to buy organic.
I did not know
those
that.
Are extremely healthy for you.
Cool. I didn't know that. Thanks.
You need fats for your brain as well.
That is nice to know. At least where I live, avocados, especially organic, are really expensive. So,
well, it's more than just a question of organic or not organic. It's look into Monsanto. They genetically modify. They change the genome of certain crops.
Yeah,
so.
I don't want to go into the semantics with that here though, because most of us generally know. So we're not here to like feed echo chambers.
Yeah,
Corey, I know you wanted to transition into like local stuff, and I wanted.
But I do want to mention your 3D action as well. Okay, so don't worry, I have that written down. But I want to go to Nemo first, if you don't mind. I need to hear from him.
I want to hear from Nemo too.
Yeah, Nemo, what actions are you taking lately? What do you plan on taking, and what boundaries do you perhaps have in your way? If you want to mention your family, you could. If you want to mention health, you could. But we want to know about you and what you're doing.
I don't know. I just got out of high school last year. Cool. I don't really have any personal issues, and my health, I'd say, is not a problem. Same with my family. My family's pretty aware as well. Personal action, I don't think I'm more pessimistic than you guys seem to be. So I don't think. Well, maybe it's my generation specifically, but I see. Very few people like us in that group, and very large streams of propaganda. So Snapchat and Instagram and Netflix, they probably consume 7 to 10 hours a day of each person, or on average, probably 6 hours a day of people in my group. But as far as action's concerned, I'm mostly focused on personal action. So,
That's good. That's what you need to do.
yeah, escaping. I think it was Mason that was talking about it. Escaping the passive slavery system.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So it's mostly monetary. So as quick as possible, escaping those, escaping the necessity for that system.
Well, just so you know, I graduated high school like 2 years ago, so I'm not like too far from you technically.
Yeah.
But most people in here are maybe like 30s, maybe some 40s. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't keep track of numbers. I don't really. It's good to know.
I'm
But it is
closer to
good to
your guys'
know.
age. I'm only 24, so I'm not too much older than you guys.
Yeah.
That's great to hear, though,
We're
because then
about
we
the
have a
same.
lot more time to do what we got to do. Generally speaking, I mean, we always have time. We got to keep that into account.
Right.
But we do want to have the insurgency to want to do things. So it's an ironic situation. You know, it's like, sorry, you don't want to do too much, but you also don't want to do too little. But there's no such thing as really too much, because people generally need to take more action. Let's just keep in mind that there were ancient civilizations that worked day and night to build structures, you know, fine detail and slaves and everything across
Right.
every single race and creed and everything. So if they worked hard and they brought us to where we are now, we should work pretty darn hard, and we have it in us.
Right. I do think that like if someone's not might be tearing themselves apart, like the martyrdom, when it gets to like absolute like martyrdom, if you can handle it, it's fine, I think.
Mhm.
But if someone is absolutely destroying themselves, uh, I differ from some people. I think that if you're destroying yourself over helping others, that's not the path, personally.
Yeah. Hey, Andy, I hear background noise. If you don't mind, if you want to mute on Discord, it's up to you.
So I guess for Nemo,
Yep.
I'm saying I think take however long you need to get your stuff together, but eventually I'm telling you you're gonna wanna then the feeling will arise to be like I want to help people.
Yeah.
No, I actually wanted to say something to that, because I definitely was very pessimistic at first too, when I was starting to realize the state that the world is in and understanding, what really goes on in the world. But as time went on, I got a lot more optimistic, and especially with this community that we have here, this has helped make me a lot more optimistic and inspired me to take action and help spread the word, because just knowing that there's other people out there that are working towards the same goal. Because before this, there was only just a few people in my personal life, and not many, that I knew who were like-minded and desired change and were willing to take action to do so.
So I think most of us have good intentions at heart, right? And we just want to simply live our lives in peace. So that's essentially what we want, Nemo. Nothing really crazy. Like, people who want movements, who want to create change, there's an actual question of intention there. Because, like, I don't want to actually create change, but in a way, we have to. So there's a level of, like, I don't want to put myself under a banner. I don't want to have to use some sort of movement. But to some extent, we have to understand the elements of that and utilize it. Because that's how you get influential, especially in the world of which collective people need to understand the law that they live under.
Eventually, there will be problems with it, though. Like, if the movement grows too large, or if the information spreads too far.
I've considered that. That's why I had documentaries that were over 35 hours to detail just that. And I even detailed in the first documentary accountability measures for when people do grow too big. I encourage that you guys check out like my documentaries on it, and I'm going to cover more about that in my presentation. But I do consider that, because I would not.
Oh, you're talking about overpopulation?
Well, for Nature's the Answer, which is like this movement that I have, which is like really unique. Yeah. So I created this thing. And trust me, I was like super, super skeptical. But like I've always hung with me like with this Nature's the Answer like message. And I realized how much it really tunes to everything, and how much it can actually be agreed upon across any sort of topic. So I use that as sort of an understanding recognition, is what I like to call it, because through understanding you can create unity, and through unity you can create change. And it's really just recognizing present truths. We're not adding anything new to the universe. There's nothing new to be added, because everything human made essentially results in this problem that we have today. So it'd be counterintuitive. So this movement's not creating anything new. All it is a simple recognition of what's already here. So there's already great difference between what this movement is compared to other, quote unquote movements, which is why I put it in quotes, because I don't consider it technically a movement, but in a way I do, because I can't find a better term really for it. Maybe there is one. But for now, I mean, this is something most people can understand. And most people generally want to be under some sort of banner or whatever, and it shouldn't be encouraged. Individual action should be encouraged. So like you mentioned, taking personal steps is important. Hey, sister, Chris Lorena is my sister. But we probably should wrap it up soon because we are getting a little long, but I do want to talk about some of the things that we mentioned. And personal action is something that is necessary. If it's all us personal actions manifested on a large scale, that's where the change comes in. The change doesn't come in when everybody gets behind one person and one idea. The change comes into effect when everybody within their own lives does the best that they can do. So this is emphasized in the blueprint and in the material and in the presentations and all that. And people don't have to watch those documentaries, but for people like you guys who I know question everything and wonder like, how does this stuff result in the future? How is it that this will not be counterintuitive? That's the whole reason why I made those documentaries, because I knew only people who would be willing to look into that would watch it. Only people who would be willing to understand more about these intentions would watch it. So that's why I created that, specifically for that reason. And like this presentation is kind of with that too. Sorry, hi, Andy. Your sound's always very different. But the presentation I'm doing with natural law and nature's answer is the same exact thing. Like I encourage people to watch natural law before actually watching the presentation that I'm introducing, because that way you understand where I'm coming in when I'm introducing and connecting a different topic to it. That way you get the understanding of both before walking into something new. And so that's the point of the presentation. That's like, I guess you can say a requirement. It's not a requirement that you have to watch the natural law seminar beforehand, but it would definitely be helpful for your understanding for the presentation I'm introducing with that. But like I said, it's personal change on a collective, personal change multiplied. And I get into that, specifically with that word usage, by the way, multiplied. But yeah, so now let's talk about, if you guys don't mind, because we mentioned, and I think this would be a good place to wrap up, what actions are we taking in real life? This is a hard one for a lot of people, and if you don't have any, that's okay. But I know that like we like to use online as this sort of escape mechanism and say, well, we can go online and this is where we just plug in away from the rest of the world. Maybe it helps us feel better or whatever. A lot of teens are using that for social media, not necessarily for information. And you guys are using the internet righteously. But we also have the great ability to do action in real life. So what actions are we taking in real life? That's the question I have to ask next. Like, for example, next week, I'm also going to go to a local college. I'm going to create a petition for college students there. And I'm going to collect like-minded individuals. I have like a spectrum of different individuals. Everybody from constitutionalism to individualism to creative people to innovators. I have like a list of like people that might be interested in it. And I'm going to introduce it to the school and stuff like that. And maybe I can get together some sort of group there in the school system as well. And I would love to sit down with the teachers there and introduce them all the material I have that is in like great depth of detail. So that's one thing I choose to do in real life aside from the other things that I mentioned. So like I said, you guys can go into it. Maybe I gave you some time to think. Andy, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm back. I've actually just been trying to get out. So like, for example, like one of our local newspapers did a story on some local civic center that they were converting into like a makeshift morgue. So I'm trying to just get out like literally in the streets and to like do some independent reporting. I kind of like you would like to actually see if I could get together with some kids on campus. Like I really think we do need to get to the younger generation.
You should also do meetup.com. I put it in the chat. It's another site that you can use.
Meetup.com. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, but I was thinking about that, but I basically, that's why I like that you shared We Are Change, because I like how they used to do that. They would get out in the streets with a camera and like go out these people down and question them. Like I picture myself doing more stuff like that. Like because I kind of enjoy that, and I don't think anyone else is really doing it.
Exactly.
So,
this is what I'm saying. Like, we need action. This is the whole point of everything I'm introducing, is so we can revive all these methods of action, connect it to all the information that's out there. Because now, anytime I watch a YouTube video, it's all like stuff that I kind of know, and I don't want to be fed my current pre-existing beliefs. I want to like start doing something with it.
I know, me too. It's always difficult for me because I'm like, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm trying to move to North Carolina because like my girlfriend lives there, and I'm fucking broke and barely working. So it's like my means to do things are pretty minimal, but I do try to just get out there and get on the ground. Like I have videos of retrofit nozzles behind airplanes, like like that direct evidence of the spraying program. Shit like that. Like I have videos like that I'm trying to get into making more videos, but it's frustrating because, like I said at the beginning, 2 out of the last 7 videos I've posted have been just totally throttled, and I know I could post a BitChute in other places, but it's just it feels like we're up against an absolute monster right now.
Well, maybe it also,
and it's like I know we can't quit, but it's just like, man, I don't know what to do.
Well, if it inspires you any bit, maybe think simpler than like just posting clips and having words alongside it. And then you could have a podcast on the side. That way you're producing double material just on different platforms, and you're producing more material because it's simple.
True.
So like that's something
good to know.
Yeah, and you can like not just record on your computer. Maybe you want to buy a recording device, maybe your phone even, and you can use that as well, and you can go on the go. Maybe a headset on the go or whatever it is. Just there's different ways you can get around it, that you can produce content out of nowhere.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I'm gonna keep at it.
Sure. Well, look, we're here to help each other. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah, I know.
So thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Mason, you want to go next, man?
Yeah. So doing more in-person kind of meetups and stuff along those lines is something that I haven't really done much of. But outside of like family and close friends, but it's definitely something that I want to get involved in, because I think that is just as, if not more important than, putting out videos and podcasts and stuff online. Just because you get that more human connection when you're in person with people. But yeah, I haven't really done much, and it's not something that I've really made a lot of plans for as of yet. But it's definitely something that I'm going to start looking into different ways that I can. Like just while we've been on this call, I've checked out some of the websites you linked. Like I went on the We Are Change to see if there's a chapter, and there is a chapter in my state. So maybe reaching out to them and setting up or going to some meetings and kind of trying to introduce people to these concepts. But yeah, I mean, I definitely do want to get out, and because there's definitely, I mean, I live in a really, populated area. I live in a big metropolitan city. So there's plenty of people around to go out and talk to.
Yeah. Well, that's also the point of the flag too, right? And the representation materials. It's conversation starters in different non-invasive ways. It's not too intimidative by saying anything up front. It's like representing something completely new that they've never seen before, and it looks like something that could be political, but it's like, psych, it's not.
Right.
But yeah, like that's sort of the point of like the flag material that I send to people. I'm glad you have one, but like that's just something to keep in mind. Like I use Mark Passio's shirt when I go out to certain places too, and I even have We Are Change shirt as well. But like I should wear those to certain situations, and it sparks some good dialogue.
Right. Yeah, that's something that I've been trying to do too. Like I got a couple of shirts from Mark's website too, and they definitely do catch people's eyes, and have gotten, a few people to approach me and ask like, "What's on your shirt?" Because they see some of, like, the one with I got the one great work one, and people are like, "Oh, what is that's like some Illuminati stuff?" Because it's like the triangle with the eye in it and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's another reason why I didn't stick with that either, because I don't think we need ancient symbols to represent a pretty simple message.
Right.
It
I agree.
only creates
I
more.
really agree with that.
It only creates more like distortion in the appeal process. So
Yeah, I like the natural law shirt better. I like wearing that one out more.
yeah. I don't
But
know. I encourage people to just make shirts of their own or whatever for like Nature's the Answer, because
right.
I don't want people to spend money. Like I want them to spend money where they want their heart is. I want people to put their own creativity into it, because then they have more personal investment. So I'd rather not actually give everything to everybody. But I do have business cards, which is pretty helpful, because then when I talk to people, it actually says on the back, only understanding and reasoning with one rooted true universal cause will unify all. It says, have a voice to share, want to simply live your life, do good. I can send you a free flag, represent your presence. And it says the front page is all you need to know, and there's video versions. And then basically I mentioned to these people when I hand out these cards, I mentioned hit the advanced tab, and it teaches you the natural law. And like, so it's getting out the natural law to people in a much easier fashion, instead of being like, okay, go to whatonearthishappening.com/videos and then scroll down and then go to natural law. No, it's right there on the website for Nature's the Answer.
Yeah,
So
that's something else that I'd like to do eventually, is like make a website of my own, so I can put my own material on there too, and not have to, rely on the other, platforms and stuff.
And
But that's something that I don't really know. I don't really have too much experience with that or know how to do that, but it's something that I would like to learn, and so I can do something like that too. Make business cards, and I could refer people to the website and some of my videos, because like I said, with my videos, I'm trying to be a little more spoon feeding, making it easier and more digestible for people than going and watching Mark's 200 whatever podcasts and multiple hundreds of hours of presentations and all that.
Yeah. So I mean,
that can be intimidating to people.
I think it's great that you're doing your own efforts, and that's like what everything's about, right? Just like everybody taking their own efforts. And Nature's the Answer is really just simply a binding effort. That's all it's meant to be, is like just, okay, here's where everybody can come together. So feel free to put it in whatever works that you choose to do. Of course, that's up to you. But it allows us to reach out to more and have an actual base foundation for everything. You may say, like, this is our headquarters, and that's the base. No, we're talking about, like, modern day somewhat war, because we're against the one agenda, which is why Nature's the Answer is called the one counter agenda. And I talk about that in the presentation as well, so stay tuned for that. And I think it'll just put everything into great perspective for you guys, because you guys are amazing thinkers. That's great.
Yeah, but I definitely, that's something I need to work on too, is outside of just family and friends, meeting with strangers essentially.
It's hard. It's not.
And that's because it's one thing I've hopefully with some of these resources like We Are Change, or maybe like meetup.com, that could help too. But I want to find, it'd be a lot easier, if I could find some more like-minded people in my area to kind of help organize events and stuff too, rather than just having it all be on my shoulders to figure out on my own. It would just make it a lot easier.
Oh yeah, me too. That's another.
But I mean that doesn't mean I'm not gonna still give it try. But
no, it's sure. Just don't have fear, right? That's all that matters. Don't have fear. Like if you're in a superstore, I don't know if you want to be like Alex Jones and just yell in the middle of the superstore. It works. It stinking works. Put it on YouTube. Maybe you'll get 1 million views. I mean, hey, I will plug that thing to death. I was thinking about doing that so bad, but I don't know. I need somebody else with me. I need somebody, at least somebody who has the same fire. Like maybe Andy, when he comes over, will be like, hey, dude, you want to go to the superstore?
I'm down, bro. I'm down, bro. That was one of the That was one of the videos they took down of mine. Was when I went into Staples, like I kicked out of Staples, and I came and turned around and went back in there and filmed, like walked in there and filmed the guy. I'm like, this is what a tyrant looks like. I'm like, this guy likes to discriminate against people who don't wear masks, who can't wear masks.
Well,
And they YouTube took that video down, bro.
It's compliance with tyranny. Remember, that's the real problem.
Right.
It's not even
But
tyranny
I'm
itself.
down, Cory. I'll go do that with you, 100%.
I'm just saying,
I'm
right?
down,
Like,
man.
that's the thing. We have multiple people. We gather this base here, and all of a sudden, it's just a massive inspiration. And it's about inspiring the world. The world, once it's inspired, like, with new ideas, like, we get this out to a great amount of people, and Nemo's like, oh, it gets bigger. Well, what actually comes of this is actually amazing. When you introduce new ideas to the public, you see massive innovation. Just look at Germany, for example. However bad the German regime was in World War II, massive expansion of economy, sciences, and everything, because everybody in that state was thinking differently, and they took more control of their lives because the bankers were out and so forth. There was just something new in the environment, and that brought new things to their life. It inspired them to want to do more. Same thing with Trump when he ran for 2016. Again, regardless of what you think of him, the fact that he was more human, the fact that he used humor, the fact that he created some different ideas, automatically creates some inspiration and innovation within society. So regardless of even the specific things and all that, just the simple presence of those type of energies, I guess you can call it, if you want to make it spiritual, I guess, if that makes it spiritual, or science. I don't know what that is, but the energy, the feel, the vibe, essentially. The ideas get out there, and you just see amazing progression. And so actually there's a lot more benefits than we think. We want to look at the bad side of everything, and we do want to constantly look at our fears, but having a movement that's actually rooted for once, which is rare, which is why we're so skeptical, is something that we can actually do. We just never had that blueprint before. So that's why I am introducing it. But yeah, and I appreciate everybody here, sharing all their thoughts and everything. Monad, if you want to go next, man, or Mason, do you have anything else to say? Did I cut you off?
No, I was pretty much done. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my mind. I told you my mind is everywhere. I'm.
Oh no,
body
I totally understand. I'm the same way. I can jump from one thing to the next nonstop for hours.
Mana, do you want to share, man, what you're doing, or what you want to do in real life?
Yeah. In real life, honestly, in real life, it's been very, very on a micro level, like with friends that I haven't talked to in a long time, stuff like that. Not as much with like local community at all. When I'm in my town, I just do what I need to do, and hopefully people leave me alone, and I'll leave them alone. I don't try to change anyone's mind in the public, out and about or anything. I do it purely based off my actions. Like I'll plant a seed of truth. If someone happens to bring something relevant up, I'll just shatter their entire reality and walk away calmly and without even acting like I said anything profound. That's sort of how I do it. But I really want to get in touch with I don't know, maybe more organizations or farms especially. I think farms are vital because local agriculture is what everybody should be doing. In an ideal world, agriculture and produce and every food would be local anyway. So I think connecting with people in my community at any level whatsoever is on a personal level too, aside from just doing the great work. I need to get on that. But so yeah, I really appreciate you putting emphasis on doing stuff in 3D because the truth is going to get out there faster than the internet, but at this rate, let's say the internet is down for a long time, just hypothetically, right? You're gonna have to know people in your community. If you don't know anyone in your community and all you had was the internet, you're screwed, really.
Right.
So
that's why we need a real life base. Sarah, what were you saying?
I'll just say, I'm working on the 3D stuff big time.
3D. Yeah, I don't know much about dimensional stuff. I'll be honest. I could probably learn more about that. I would like to learn more about quantum stuff. I need to look more into that, to be honest. I know Eric Dubé has a lot of good stuff on that. I mean, he's a really good researcher from the stuff I've been looking at. Like, like people want to make fun of him for flat Earth, but I think his stuff is on the same level as Mark Passio. I know that's maybe a stretch, but the amount of detail he puts into it between all his websites, his blogs, and his videos, and his books, and his podcasts, and his music, I think it's pretty darn good.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. I'll put his name in the chat in case anyone doesn't know. But you probably don't want to diss Flat Earth until you watch this stuff. He's probably the only person talking about it with actual sense. But I don't know. I can't really, grasp that entirely either, because none of us really know. It's above human understanding in a way. We've kind of really can't tell. The spiritual realm, as it is, we can't see anything with the human eye.
Yeah, I'm very, very similar. I don't even necessarily like take a side on the flat Earth or globe theory debate, but I do think it's a spherical planet. With I think we're on some sort of sphere in a very complex universe. But I mean, like you said, like we gotta build a foundation on this planet or this plane, whatever it is. Whatever it is, we need to build a foundation based on nature and natural law. So
yeah, that's it, man. And those are the things we do know for a fact.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's the point. Is like everything else is just speculation, talk, semantics, and this person said that, this person said this. Oh my gosh, drama, politics, and yeah, no. That's why it's like it doesn't actually hurt the world to just get the natural law out there in higher circulation. So I'm willing to abandon nature as the answer any day. It's basically just to get the natural law out there, to get these ideas flowing, and to get people thinking for themselves.
For sure.
Those are what matter at the end of the day. So you guys doing it, it's all that matters. Like everybody putting their effort in. And so I know, some of you guys maybe have some direction from this, like, giving health gifts to your family members or whatever. But it's the simple things that do matter. Just realize, baby steps. I'm still trying to find different ways. It's interesting you mentioned farm. I'm still trying to get involved with the local farm near me.
Yeah,
I'd
really like to do something like that too. I really like that you're doing that, Monad, because I've been recently just been trying to myself, do more shopping at farmers markets and local farms and getting a lot of my produce and just food in general from, local areas. So I'm not, getting it from trying not to be as involved in the whole global industrialized food system.
Yes, it's key.
Also, I'll share with you guys. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, mine is not important.
I honestly, I don't even know what I was about to say. So you go ahead.
Mine's just totally off topic. I was just gonna link. There's a company. I just linked them. They create Linux phones. They're the only one on the market right now. I'm actually gonna get one of their phones because you guys know my old one died. So I'm just gonna get a completely off the grid phone. This is the most secure and freedom-based phone that there is on the market.
Purism?
No Intel. There's no Intel processing, nothing like that. Everything's do not track. There's kill switches. There's even a USB.
Are you talking about Purism?
Yeah. There's even a USB into the phone. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
A USB in?
Yeah, and you can like attach your keyboard, your Nintendo Switch to this thing. It's like first of its kind. You got freedom. It's literally a computer in your hands, and you can attach it to your Linux computer, and you can run the whole script, the whole phone from the computer. It's insane. It's got a display port and like just darn. This is like revolutionary. But just talk about freedom. Like this company, they raised $2 million of donations just from people around the world to create this phone because people wanted something that isn't Apple, isn't Android for once. And that's double their goal. Their goal was 1 million. They got 2 million to do it. And so now they're just starting to release their mass batches, which is evergreen. But the latest ones were all like developer ones. And they make YouTube channel videos showing how the phone works and everything. It's pretty darn cool. I don't need anything super slim and super fancy looking or doing all this fancy stuff. It's basic. It has
the phone is
messaging.
Super thick with 3 C's.
Hi, Crystal.
Hi everyone.
So,
I'm sorry I wasn't on earlier. I was streaming, but I hope you guys all had a great meeting.
And
had a good time.
So yeah, good job, Crystal. She's making it in the entertainment section, which is good because entertainment is something that's necessary. That's why there's music.
Yeah, we need good on entertainment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have fun.
Good
Gotta have fun.
distraction.
Nemo,
need a
did you
nice
want to mention
distraction
anything,
for
man?
the-
I know that maybe you're new to stuff, and we're always willing to talk more about this. Like, the meeting chat is usually for, like, actions around the already ideas that we kind of have, not to feed echo chambers. But if you're willing to learn a lot of information, I'm sure a lot of the people here have a lot of interesting stuff to share with you. And trust me, we respect, criticism, and we respect, hesitations and stuff like that, because
sure.
we need that. We're not just going to be super open minded, just accept everything. We actually encourage that. That's critical thinking. So is there anything you wanted to mention, Nemo?
What do you mean?
Is there anything you wanted to just mention, being here? Is there anything like that you plan on doing otherwise, that you want to let us know?
I don't know. I'm an information collector at the moment. That's all.
Great. No, that's
Other than
good.
that,
Things
I wasn't
change in
trying to create an
years.
echo chamber.
Yeah.
I was just, I was mentioning.
It's surprising though, like in just a couple years, how much things can change. Like I think around our age range, like you're maybe like 18 or 19, I'm guessing, and like I'm 20, but like just this age range, from like 18 to like 25 or whatever is kind of like insane, because it's just a lot of. It's just like years. It's not that it goes by fast, but there's a lot that can happen just in 1 year. But
Yeah, I can't believe how much shit's happened in my life in the time since I've graduated high school, and it's been just over 5 years now. So
yeah. So I thank you guys. I'm gonna end the video now. Okay.
That's great, man.
So
Thank you.
say bye to YouTube. I want you guys to mention your channels real quick. So Andy, you start first because you're first in line.
Yeah, my channel's Go Within to Get Out. I'm Andy Gerard, bringing it to you live. Crazy fucking outfits.
All right. Crystal?
Oh, best outfits.
Crystal,
geez,
you're next.
Really short.
Yes.
My channel is Crystal's Life. We do everything glam and makeup and coffee, and totally not related to anything. But if you want a distraction from what is going on in the world, come to my channel. Have a great time.
Yeah, support entertainment so we can get this ideas out there.
Yeah.
Mason, your turn.
Yeah, my channel is just Mason Gleason. Just my name, MASON GLEASON. And it's same picture that I have. Well, I guess
The Gleason map of the world in 18.
Yeah, my great grandfather Alexander Gleason. No, not really, not related at all. But yeah, so just Mason Gleason is my YouTube, and you could find me too on Brighteon, BitChute, and Library too.
Great. And Monad of Creation. I wonder what your channel is. Go ahead.
Yeah, my content is under Monad of Creation, primarily on YouTube and Instagram right now. And very shortly, I should be launching a podcast. So that will be on all the podcast distributors, and then BitChute, Library, you know how it's
Will I get
spelled.
invited?
And then what's up?
Could I get invited?
Oh yes, I'm gonna yes, you will. And then yes.
That's called confrontation, just FYI. So that's how you do it. Just kidding.
Yeah, I plan on having people on eventually, but yeah, that's
Yeah, no, you don't have to invite me. That's up to you.
No, I was planning on it. I'm very quiet about what I do. I'm sort of like a Sith Lord, and I stay in the shadows until I do the thing.
Same. It's better to be unpredictable. So
that's me. Thanks for everything, Cory.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Nemo, I don't know if you have anything else to say. If you do, say it. But thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks, Cory.
All right. Look forward to next time.
Peace out.
Later.
See you guys.
Everybody.